Welcome, everybody. I'm Santiago Kneeland, and this is The Divine Within, the invisible connection with God. Today, we're going to talk about ancient wisdom, sound, spirit, and the Christ frequency. And I'm very pleased to be joined by a very dear friend from a long time ago. It's Michelle Bouton. She's a visionary leader and a sound alchemist. She's the founder of Xicome, a global movement of world music and healing arts dedicated to awakening consciousness and restoring planetary harmony. With over 25 years devoted to studying vibration, ancient wisdom, and divine technology, Michelle bridges science and spirituality, reminding us that sound, energy, and love are languages of the same source. In this episode, we journey through heavenly government, music, and sound, ancient technologists, and Christ consciousness. Discovering how celestial order, ancestral knowledge, and divine love converge to guide humanity's evolution. So welcome, Michelle. I'm really pleased to have you here.
Well, thank you, Santiago. It's an honor to be joining you in this stage of our lives and to be able to share with all of you a little of this humble path.
Yes, exactly. And let me just point out that we have a history from Mexico. We've been in rituals. We've been in this spiritual path. So we've shared these experiences, and that's why I think it's very near to the heart because we've experienced this together. So I like sharing all of this wisdom and knowledge that we've learned through this process. All right. And let me just stayed with an intro on this segment, which is music and sound. It's creating divine consciousness, and this is something that you do a lot. So I'm going to read what my thoughts are on this, but I believe that music is the heartbeat of creation, the living bridge between the seen and the unseen. In the heavens, celestial musicians weave harmonies of energy and light that echo divine truth on earth. These same vibrations inspire healing, unity, and transcendence. Sound becomes sacred when we use it consciously to attune the human soul with the frequencies of love, truth, and divine will. So that is my take. And what can you share of what you do and how you view music and vibration harmony throughout the universe?
Metelt, and here asking permission to the spirit world and to divine to share with all of you this beautiful path of sound and harmony, which has been guiding my life since I was young. And, discovering how this universal vibration of frequency of the divine is what sustains and holds us together as a system, as a galaxy, as a universe, as a living consciousness. We are within this frequency. I call it the frequency of love, because it can only be love if it is holding us within this vibration, which is God consciousness, and that everything that is in existence is sound. We are a walking symphony as human beings, knowing that sound and vibration is the frequency of the unity of all our organs, all our our blood system, our heartbeat, and this on the micro level, and on a macro level, we go to communities and societies, and on a larger scale, we have the planets and the solar system. And all of this is the symphony, as we've heard in many ways, the symphony of the spheres. And it is from this that creation has come about, is mathematic, is divine geometry, sacred geometry, which is this grid work of music and sound, and why this has been so important in all cultures, in all traditions, in all philosophies of all times. Even we have the ancient uh, priests and leaders that were, you know, knew about sound and frequency and harmonics to be able to bring harmony mhm, in a body or within a society. So, I learned this first because, of course, I was a DJ in my, I
Yes,
say,
I remember that.
in my other life, and I realized how, through sound, I was able to transform the environment of a space and uplift the hearts and souls of the people that were receiving the music. And I would choose music that had special messages, and then I would use, even mantras. I'm talking, 30 years ago when this was still very new. And then
Yes,
I switched the turntables into sound bowls. And began all my studies and on the spiritual path and ancient technologies and shamanic teachings, and how each song is a representation of the universe, of the wind, of the birds, of the harmonics of the solar systems. There really is not silence per se, because everything vibrates. It's just not audible to the human ear. And this is where I received this vision of being able to create a music festival to promote a culture of peace, to honor the ancient traditions, and to open and bring awareness of consciousness through sound, because it touches these fibers that are within. And the moment, it can even be 1 second, that this sound or this word of a song touches this fiber that activates our DNA and connects us to God, to divine, to great spirit, to source. And we remember. We remember.
yes. Yeah, yeah, and it all makes sense. I really, really enjoy and like what you say, because this is exactly what I talk about in the Mayan cosmology, not the Mayan cosmology, what I call it's the human matrix pattern and the law of time. So in the human matrix pattern, like you're saying, everything is a mathematical, everything is a fractal. And what it states is that, everything, and it's particularly in our case, in this, let's talk about Earth and where we are, is there's two frequencies, two sequences. One is called the 13 tones of creation, and the second one is the 20 seals of destiny, which is the local, it's the local projection of the sun, the solar system of these. But I mean, these 13 tones, let's say it's the the coarse or the thick frequency, and then the 20 seals is like the fine tuning of the frequency. So, and this generates what is the code of the human matrix pattern, which is a combination of these 13 tones and 20 seals that make a 260 matrix, 200 seal matrix, or not seal, kin. They're called kins, and this is very common. If everybody has heard of this word before, and it's that galactic seal, and it codifies. It's very interesting because every day has a different energy, and that also influences you, and it codifies you, and it gives you a galactic signature. So the interesting thing about this is that the construction, like you're saying, is a frequency. There are two frequencies, and we're all sound, and even though maybe we're not perceiving our physical structure as sound, it is a frequency, it is a vibration. So I really like this on the way that you're presenting it, because it's the way that I view it. And a lot of the times, the way I see what's happening, in the interaction of the universe, or let's say the canvas, and we particularly as humans, and then collectively within the realms of the different beings and other mortals and other planets. I mean, the whole creation. I see that the universe is, and the will of God, and the structure is sort of the harmony, and we as individuals are the melody. So we play within those. And the more harmonious it is, it's within, there's certain rules in music that, there's certain keys that you cannot play because within the certain harmonic structures, because it doesn't sound right. But you can give it qualities of a major, of a minor, and you can make all these different colorings. And I, as a musician, as well, view this, the construction of how we live as music. We're playing a song, we're interacting within time, because that's another element of music. It's within time. It's not static like maybe an image. It has a birth and death, each time that you hear a song, and you can relive it all the time, but it has a beginning and an end. And when you play it, and what you were saying, in like when you were a DJ, the connection you feel with the people. And I was, when I was a musician, playing with my bandmates, and when you're in harmony and in sync, playing the song, and then within a concert, and with the performance, it creates like I would let's I'll pass it to you, but let me end with saying, God is a DJ, in Faithless's words.
Exactly, in Faithless's words, God is a DJ. It's good. That's exactly it comes from, and the importance in these times to be able to attune
Yes.
into our essence of our true nature, of our harmony, of our God essence. This is why I love this theme of the divine within, because through sound and frequency is where we are able to awaken and remember this divine within, which is the nature of God that speaks to us through sound and music. And how coming together, it's like this matrix of all these grid lines.
Yeah, yeah.
And the more that we are capable of harmonizing within, then these points start connecting, and it's like this technological platform
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that is this is how we can contribute also to the evolution of our system and of our planet as a humankind. In the chants of the rituals, and in the sound of a conch, or the sound of a drum, we are calling in spirit, and we are connecting to the spirit world.
A mantra is exactly that, and it's a inner vibration.
Yes, and they it's all the signs are always there. They come in many forms and many versions of the sacred geometry, as you were talking about the 1320, and the energy of each day, and the sacred seven,
Mm-hmm.
the spheres,
Yeah.
the
How
seven
certain?
worlds.
Yeah, there's. I mean, the geometry you're saying about the geometry, how you see it in different reflections. The three, the seven, the Trinity, the four. And it's not coincidence. It's even the 11:11. It has certain connections to certain qualities, of course.
Yes, and if we look even the movement of the birds, or the blowing of the leaves of a tree, the waves in the ocean, this is all part of universal frequency to bring balance and harmony here in our sacred planet, Urantia.
Yes.
And how that is a reflection and a mirror of the universe. So, in the way that we are capable of bringing this consciousness within ourselves is a way that, God reveals himself, the spirit. The spirit is sound. The spirit is music. And
Definitely.
this
Definitely.
unites us as, as this one consciousness that we are a part of. And I find that there's a moment right now, there's so much separation happening. And the more that we attune to this frequency, then we know that it's oneness. It's this unity of this orchestration of this symphony of love.
Just to point out, and talking about back in the day when you were a DJ, and when we met, and it was early 2000s, and I mean, the connection in the parties that we went to. I mean, and this I did. Just to briefly mention that part, or maybe that part of history, or our generation. There was a lot of unity. It's something very different that I see uh, sometime nowadays. And I understand that the digital world is a big contributor to that. But back in the day, we didn't really rely a lot on technology. I mean, it was the transition of the beeper to to the maybe not the smartphone. It was, it was the pretty phone. But we went to parties, and we were very loving with each other. It was everything was about unity. Everything was about and music. That the music that we heard, and I think that time in history will never be replicated, and the quality of the music that was created. The early 2000s. And we're talking about especially electronic music that was created there. I mean, they are anthems, and I think that's where like my parents' generation, the hippies, have the end of the 60s, that part. I think that our generation, contributed a lot in that part of time with music, and that's the point.
Yes. Although with this openness now and awareness that has expanded on many levels, it's interesting because now we have the medicine music and the healing music and all these spaces where, people converge listening to music that is more meaningful and that has a special, frequency that connects us to the spirit world, to the natural world, to the celestial world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where this convergence, this harmonic planetary convergence is, I believe, growing because of expanded consciousness. Because before, we used to talk about this and people would think we were completely crazy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, they still some do, but
Yeah, yeah. Back in the day, we were pioneers talking about this, and starting these paths that we took. We were pioneers in that, and it's interesting, and that was like a starting point. I think in at least in my life, and I believe in yours as well. That point in time where yes, there was all of this, and there was we were 20 something, and it was that time in your life when you experienced that, but then you mature and through different paths, in different ways, and you gain this wisdom, and I think we've reached the same conclusion, although we haven't really crossed paths throughout that. But I mean, we've reached the same conclusions in what we experienced there. So I'm really happy about that, and we in our conclusions, right?
well, because
So
we're on the same frequency.
exactly. Yes,
This is
exactly. So
it.
it's like being attuned to the same channel and TV, right? We're seeing the same thing. We're experiencing the same thing. Yeah, exactly. That goes to show what we just talked about. So
I'm going to share. If we're talking about sound and we're talking about music, then I'd love to share with all of you some tunes to connect and to share gratitude and uh, bring peace to our hearts and to all.
On the Divine Within podcast, we'll share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.